and welcome to this edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston, and joining me is the chef de mission for the Bermuda team traveling to the Commonwealth Games at the end of the month, next week, Miss Donna Reyna, as well as one of the athletes in DH Miners. We're hoping to be joined by Tyler Butterfield later on. But Donna, as the chef, an experienced chef, done this role on a few occasions, not only for the Bermuda Olympic Association, but in your capacity as president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association, leading a delegation. How excited are you about this opportunity to lead Bermuda in Birmingham?
I'm very excited, Earl. Reason being is because, this is one of our bigger teams that we've gone with to, Commonwealth, Pan Am, or, Olympics, 17 athletes. A lot of some of the athletes are younger. This is going to be their first, real international. When I say international, one of the big games, the Pan Ams, the Commonwealth, the Olympics, and CAC. But as I keep saying to everyone, they may be young, but most of them are experienced. They have competed internationally. They have competed, NCs. They've competed at that level. So I think from a competition standpoint, they're all going to be ready to compete. And I'm just excited. I am looking forward to some great performances from these athletes. I think they've all worked very hard. All of them have met the standards. Now, one of the athletes that are traveling have not met the standards. So that puts them in a good stead right there.
And good evening, Dave. I hope all is well with you. For you, this year has been an exciting year. Plenty of things have been happening for you. Things have just kind of fallen into place. What's your thoughts? We're still just a few weeks away from you hitting that track and being in that environment. But describe for us 2022 for DH Miners.
Evening, Earl. Evening, Mrs. Reyna, sorry, Donna. Yeah, this year is crazy because the year actually started out terrible. Because I got COVID I think January 2nd. So I was like, oh boy, this is how 2022 is going to be. But as the months have progressed, it's had its challenges and setbacks, but there have definitely been way more positives than negatives all around. Personally, professionally, athletically, mentally, everything. And not to downplay anything I've done, but my coaching, I kind of think it's been a year delayed. That sounds a bit arrogant, but we just felt that I had been in this shape already. I just hadn't really had the opportunities yet. So although it's seems like a big breakthrough year, I think physically it's kind of what we anticipated. And just hoping, I had a very good couple of weeks home. I fly out tomorrow. Got some good work in. Actually left the track today. I don't want to call my splits out in the workout, but I finished a workout with a 51.5 400. So the speed and the strength is there. Now I just have to do 2 more races. I'm going to race twice for the prelim starts and hope that whatever happens there, I put my best foot forward. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Sure. And Donna, as the chef for the games, making sure that all the athletes, accommodations, their travel, it's so much that goes into it. Just briefly give the viewers a snapshot of some of the day-to-day lead-up challenges before the athletes get there that your role is, because a lot of people just think it's a vacation once you're there.
No. Definitely not a vacation, Earl. Every time I come back as a chef from any of these games, I feel like I need a vacation afterwards. And I tell those guys in our meeting today, when I went up for the chef's meeting, we had to go to all of the different villages to look at the villages. We had to go to all the different sporting event venues. And when I came back, and this is kind of weird, I had shin splint. We walked so much. And I kind of work out every day, but I had serious shin splints when I came back just from walking around. But the life of a chef is not easy at all. As I said, I arrive before the team arrives. We have a delegation meeting where we have to meet and organize the athletes' rooms, where they're staying. And believe me, when I went to the chef's meeting, I already put in my bids of where I want my athletes to be staying. As I said, we may be a small nation, but I still want to make sure that we have the best that we can have. So there were some of the dorms, because we will be staying at the University of Birmingham and the University of Warwick. So it is dorms. So some of the dorms that I went to, I basically told them that's a no. So every time we went to a different location, then I would say, okay, I put a cross at that. So that means no, my team is not staying here. So we have to get all of that organized before the athletes arrive. As I said, with me going early, I'll be able to walk through the process of accreditation, getting from Heathrow to Birmingham to the Welcome Center, how long that would take, what the process is. So when I get there, I can send back information to everyone to say, okay, expect this. And as I said to you, I told the athletes today, we met with them, and I said, make sure you pack your patience, because this could possibly be a long process. As a chef, every day we have a 7:00 meeting. And basically we talk about any issues. So what I've advised the team managers and the coaches is to let me know the day before I have my chef's meeting if there's anything wrong. We don't have towels. I mean, the smallest thing, we need more ice, we need more water, so that when I go to the chef's meeting, I'll be able to say to them, okay, there's not enough water for the athletes, there's not enough towels for the athletes. Also, when the athletes arrive, I will be meeting them at the Welcome Center to make sure that their process is as easy as possible. As I said to the team managers and coaches, because we've been meeting with them every other week as well, it's about the athletes. It's not about us. So we have to make sure that these athletes are as comfortable as they can be. Whatever they desire, is my job to make sure that they get whatever it is that they need, because we want them to perform at the optimum level. So we've got to make sure that they have everything they need. The only thing I guess we have to be careful about, and that for me has started probably last week, is trying not to catch COVID. That kind of is my goal right now. Everywhere I go, people look at me. I might be the only person in a place with a mask on, and I don't even care, because all this work we put in for 2 years, I don't want to get close to the date and all of a sudden I can't go to Birmingham because I've tested positive. But I mean, and also as a chef, I try to go to every single event that the athletes participate in. So again, it's long days. Sometimes it's long traveling, because the traveling is usually not like 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a 40-minute drive to get from one event to the other. But I definitely make sure as a chef that I get to every event, even if I just am there for 10 minutes and then have to rush off. But the way that the schedule looks, it looks like I'll be able to see everyone's event. I don't have too much, athletes competing on the same day or at the same time.
Sure. Well, we are joined by Tyler Butterfield. Good evening, Tyler. How are you?
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, Earl. I'm good, thanks.
Good. Well, it's 2022. It's Commonwealth Games. How's Tyler Butterfield feeling?
Yeah, good. I'm excited. I mean, I'm only doing the team relay, but I'm excited about the whole team atmosphere. I think Donna's got the right thing it was great to get everyone on a call today. As much as we wanted to just do our training and not be bothered, it was good to see everyone. Put a face to the name. A lot of people I sort of know through you interviewing them, but to put a face and hear everyone introduce themselves. And Donna was good to tell everyone. I mean, for me, I think this is my 5th Commonwealth Games, and then I had a Pan Am and Olympics. So it's multiple games, but you have to be patient if you haven't been there, especially on day one. Like, you want to get on that plane rested, because the travel there and then and now with the COVID protocols, it's only going to take longer. Like, I've never been to a games with COVID, and they were sort of long-winded to get into the village before COVID. It's only going to be a little more stressful and a little longer. But yeah, it was a great meeting today with the whole team. Donna set us up, said to bring snacks, And yeah, that first day is going to be a bit long with the travel, but it should be good. I think everyone's excited. Everyone who's qualified is ready to go. With the triathlon, Flora won last weekend, so that motivated everyone. Of someone from our country won a gold medal and has already won a Com Games gold, and she's going back to hopefully defend. So yeah, it shows that there's no reason why someone from Bermuda can't walk away number one. And then yeah, just do the small things right, and if everyone does their best on the day, it's all we can ask for.
Sure. Now, 2018, we took part in the inaugural team triathlon event for the Commonwealth Games. We've seen this portion of triathlon kind of get intense. What are you hoping this time around you're able to, because it was the first time that you guys had actually done that. It was new. But now, 4 years later, you haven't done it as much as you would have liked to do it, but you've got now 4 years or 5 years experience of either watching it, understanding it, going through some of it. So what's your vision on this time around?
Yeah, it's a super interesting event. I mean, it just got added to the Olympics in Tokyo past, and it'll be in Paris. But as far as Com Games, we haven't done it since 8 years ago. We did make a few mistakes, and it's hard to know. None of us regret the way we did the order, and the order has now switched. It used to be female, male, female, male. And for the male side, with me and Tyler Smith is a way stronger swimmer. And stronger all-around ITU athlete for sure right now. He's sort of the A male, so it's easy to know to put him first. The hard thing, again, will be which order we put Flora and Erica. But I don't know. It's up to Flora to decide, to be honest. We're leaving her as team captain, but you sort of want your anchor last. But because of the drafting on the bike, you want to keep every athlete in the lead pack as long as possible. And yeah, so we've been watching. I mean, there's been 3 in the last 6 weeks at the world triathlon level.
Yes.
And it's been really interesting watching them. And I think we all have agreed, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I mean, we've only sort of learned by viewing other countries and what they're doing. I will say that the first race of those 3, the last 6 weeks, New Zealand and Australia did not do great, and so we were sort of excited. In the last 2 other races, they've improved. Canada still looks a bit up and down, but yeah, we don't really know where we stand. We're sort of coming in, and we're hoping. I think we're pretty happy with 5th 4 years ago. However, it's very unlikely, but it's that 3rd place. If we can get 1 or 2 of the countries to have mistakes, and I mean the race just this last weekend, one country had 2 penalties, so they had to stand down for 20 seconds. So if we can have a clean race and we can all execute the best of our ability, and a couple of the other countries have some mistakes, maybe a penalty, maybe one athlete has an off day. That's where we're hoping if we can have a perfect day and they make a few mistakes, that we can move from 5th up in any direction. I mean, 4th would be okay, but I mean, obviously you only get medals in the top 3. But it's a long shot. It's very much a long shot. And that's one of the reasons I won't do the individual this year. Is there's no reason for me to get another. I think my best was 14th to 25th. There's no reason for me to use that energy when 2 days later you have to go max out. I think the big question mark is how much have I slowed down. Tyler Smith and Erica have improved. Flora is still the best in the world, and hopefully the old guy on the team hasn't slowed down too much. Yeah. I need some tips from Dej on how. I think my run's 2K. So maybe Dej can give me some taper sprints to do on the track.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break. But Dej, when we come back, I need you to answer there's been a lot of professional track meets that we've been able to watch of late. How much have you watched and strategized on your particular event for the Commonwealth Games when it comes to those races? We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy. But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born. I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, yeah, Dej, we know we everybody watches their sport, professional sport, and envisions themselves in a game like a football game or a race or so forth. But how do you work on just that, visualizing these guys running and putting yourself in the mix there?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And yeah, I follow along the. I'm sorry, I can't talk. I follow along like the Diamond League circuit, and some of the meets over in the US and some smaller ones in Europe, and like that permit meet here was very eye opening for me, because like I believe that the guy that got fourth at the permit meet here was fourth in the US trials, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, not saying that I'm third best in America in any shot, but like race day is what matters. Like, you can watch guys run 335, 336 every day, but in Birmingham, if the pace goes out in 205 to the 800, like, hey, like, we're gonna run 345, 346, and I've done that. So like, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that answers your question completely. Like, but obviously the Diamond League circuit is completely different than the Commonwealth Games because there's rabbits, you got the lights, they go to countries where the weather's gonna be good. Like, so it's a bit different because unfortunately tracks become that where it's just the racing elements just going out the window sometimes. It's just, we only want to go to a place to run fast or to, and obviously time matters, but at the end of the day, like, I believe not the recent Olympics, but 2 Olympics before, like this guy Matt Centris won in 350. Now, like 350, 50, and 100 wouldn't even win like a collegiate conference meet, but like at the Olympics, that's what won. So with that said, like, yeah, I follow along and like I take notes and see what guys are doing, but I looked at Gold Coast and I think 346 made the final. Obviously, that was 4 years ago. What may happen this year may take 338 to make the final. But who knows? Like, and I just have to keep telling myself, it's just a regular race. Gun goes off, and you just have to put yourself in a position to try to win. Like, and there'll be guys that I believe Kenya's sending Chariot. He was second at the Olympics. So it's going to be intense. But like anyone, I believe anyone's beatable, but you just have to believe in yourself and see what happens.
Sure, definitely. Well, good luck in that.
Thank you.
Donna, the fact that you have someone like Tyler, who we would consider a veteran of the festivals, in the group, what does that mean for the team?
I think it's a big positive. When you have athletes that are experienced and you have such a young team, I think their experience, their enthusiasm, they can assist with the young athletes, preparing them for competition. Of course, they've got to go out there and compete themselves, but they can talk with Tyler. Tyler can give them some tips on how to get yourself prepared and so on and so forth. So I think having someone on the team that's experienced is great when you have a young team. And also I think at the point when these athletes get there, you need someone that's going to keep them kind of calm, because they're going to see athletes that they've seen on TV. And I know how that goes, because we had that at the Olympics. Like, some of the athletes, we had to say, okay, remember what you're here for. And also, don't be frightened when you see him. As Dave said, he's going to see some Kenyans that he's seen on TV that he may have to race against. But as he said, you've got to stay positive and know that you could be in the race, and having someone like Tyler there can help these athletes, through that. And, hopefully we'll be able to have a couple of Zoom sessions, because we are in two different villages, similar to what we had today, where, everybody can log on and we can talk and kind of get everybody pumped up, because I think it's very, very important. And also to give them confidence. You made it here. And also, no, as I said to you, none of the athletes made it here just by saying I'm coming. Every one of them qualified to be at the Commonwealth Games. So I think it's all about positivity. We've got to make them feel positive. We've got to make them feel confident that they can go out there and compete with the next person, whoever is standing next to them. They've put in the same type of training, the same sort of hard work. And, Tyler can talk to them about that experience. As I said, you've put in the work, so feel confident.
And Tyler, for you, through your experiences of Commonwealth, of Olympics, of Pan Ams, and all the other festivals as well, now you're doing the Ironman, which I'm still trying to get through my head how you guys are able to compete for 8, 9, 10 hours. Dish, you it's not gonna happen. Okay, but Tyler, relying on that experience and utilizing that experience back in Australia when we done the team event and we had a young Tyler Smith, we had a young Erica Hawley. Flora was just had won the women's race and so forth. But using that experience, how much do you rely on that in your day-to-day preparation for any event that you're gonna do?
Personally, I rely on it immensely. I use experiences on paper. I shouldn't have got half the results I've got. I've done all the physiological testing, and my numbers aren't where they need to be at the very top. As far as it's hard, because we've all earned the right to be there on our own merit. So even like 4 years ago, there's things that you want to say, but you have to be very careful not to step out of place. I think Dej has it right. He's researched what other people are doing. But I mean, the 1500 is a prime example. Like when he said the example of Maciej Centurions winning the Olympic gold in a time that it was actually slower than the Paralympic event a couple weeks later. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your time is. It's about medals at major championships. And so Dej has the right attitude there. And if all the athletes go in like that, I mean, it's a little harder in like swimming where they're in the lane on their own. I mean, I know lanes make a bit of a difference with a little more draft if you're in the center. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing you can give the experience is when people are freaking out their bags didn't show up. It's like every game's bags go missing. That's just something like pack. I probably should have said that on the thing today. Pack a couple extra things in your carry-on because and when you get there, they're going to take your bags, and sometimes it takes a couple hours for them to arrive. Like, don't freak out at that. Like, if you want to do a jog right off the plane, pack that in your carry-on. It's more that type of experience of the village. Or if you see people going, wow, what do you eat? Or people in the village walking around all the time. It's like, you can just sometimes put a pointer out of, hey, go do your jog in the morning and then put your feet up, watch the events, put the TV on, or find somewhere where it's screening the events from the competition. Because it is exciting, but you don't want to use that energy from the village and the excitement before your event. After your event, walk around, go to every other event. But I think most of us, I mean, I've always gone to the games for the event. I haven't been to very many opening ceremonies or closing because I'm always off to another event where the opening is right before the triathlon. But I've always put the event first and the experience almost second. And I think most of us are like that. And it's fun hearing Dej talk about the potential, especially someone who has closing speed. And then, yeah, it's having confidence. And some events are less opportune, like sort of have less opportunity because they're more like the time trial event for the cyclist versus the road race. I mean, in 2006, I was able to do the time trial and the road race. The time trial, I was minutes behind. The road race, I think I was 38 seconds off the winner. It's just a different dynamic. Like if you're hungry and you can just hang on a wheel, you hang on as long as you can, and you don't know how many people are going to be left there. And hopefully it's a small bunch by the time you get to the finish. So there's definitely events that are different, but from experience, it's mainly just keeping everyone calm. And that's what, I mean, it's great having Donna sort of know she's there for the athletes. And I think it's great to have someone like Donna who's saying, look, I'm not afraid to say what I want. I want the best for my athletes. And you sort of need that. And yes, we're a small country and we don't want to come across as like sort of bumping shoulders and trying to, but at the same time, if you're looking out for your athletes the best you can, then you're doing your best job. If someone gets upset at that, that's their fault. But yeah, I think it'll be an awesome experience. I'm sad to say it's my last, but I'm getting too old to keep going at these. But yeah, it'll be great. It's going to be fun to watch everyone.
Sure. Well, I mean, what they say is all good things come to an end. Why not end with something around your neck?
Yeah, that would be special. But I mean, it would be great to just see Flora have another good race.
Sure.
I know she's got a lot of pressure on her shoulders. We were training the other day, and I think it was just after she had her COVID, so things weren't going. She hadn't won the race, and the one thing I said is, "You've already won what everyone else wants." I don't think anyone else in her field has a medal. I don't think the girl, one of the other favorites, has the silver medal from the Olympics, but she has the double gold. So yes, she has the pressure, but at the same time, she's already won what everyone wants. So she's already ticked that box. So hopefully she can enjoy it and not feel too much pressure and execute the race we know she can.
Sure. But we're going to take another commercial break. Then we come back. We'll have more with our Commonwealth Games team for Birmingham. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy. But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born. I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Tyler, take us through a training day with Bermuda's gold medalist, because you have the luxury of training with Flora, and she has the luxury of training with Tyler on a regular basis. And I think a lot of people overlook that she's actually working with you and you're working with her, to help improve.
Yeah, I mean, we just started to do some together just before these games. With me doing longer stuff and her doing shorter stuff, it hasn't really worked. But she's impressive. I mean, the running to go to the track, and just nail out some of the sessions. Like, I'm pretty much just running her paces, and I'm quite happy with that. I don't need to do. Occasionally, I need to do a tiny bit more speed, but to be honest, it's not. Most of the time when I've done a couple reps a little harder, I'm then paying for it later in the day. As a triathlete, you're generally doing 3 sessions almost every day. Like, today was an easy day, and it's ride to the pool, swim, ride home, rest a little, run in the afternoon. You can sometimes knock all 3 out at once, which I sometimes do if I got other things to do with the kids, the family, or the farm in the afternoon. I've tried to downplay that until after Calm Games, any extra stuff. But yeah, training with Flora is amazing. And it really is the whole system she has. I mean, she's super professional. Pretty much it's been cool to see, because I haven't really seen how, I mean, I know she's professional, but to see how she's generally 2 sessions in the morning, rest, nap. Dan, her husband, is who I coordinate with more on training. He's the one who lines up the time, start time, the sessions. It's actually less contact direct with Flora because she's resting. And it is that whole, like, at the top level to get an Olympic medal, you all her energy is going into training. And she's doing a lot of other stuff that I don't. She's doing gym, physio, massage. She's ticking every box. Which, as an older athlete, we were joking at the track one day that she was doing strides and stretching, and I was just chatting to Dan, and I'm sort of like, you can't teach the old dog new tricks. I'm not. I do the warm up there, and then I'm like, my first interval is going to be my stride, and then I'll roll into it. It is impressive to watch her, and you can see why. She's world number 1. She's Olympic and defending Calm Games gold medalist. And to see the team, to see how much Dan does. Dan does a lot of the bike tech stuff, as far as even taking it to someone who's doing the mechanic work. She really has a team around her, and you need that to get to that level. You need people around you helping you, assisting you, that aren't taking from the pot at all, and they're only giving. And it's very rare to find people like that. I was lucky my wife raced when she was younger, so she understood that. But even that, she's at a point where it's like, hey, you got 4 kids now. Like, you can't put the dad on hold. Like, you can't put pause on putting the kids to bed and stuff. But it really has been neat to see. I mean, Dan's also a photographer. He's doing a lot of her social media. She really is what she is because of her effort and the team around her. It was great in Bermuda when she came down. Her coach got to come down and see the island as well, because it really is a team affair. And yeah, I mean, that's the same with Calm Games. It's like, yes, the athlete has to perform, but the whole team around making it as fluid as possible. Like, it's nice to hear Donna will be at the Welcome Center just because there is hiccups. Someone forgets something, or if there's backup, if the paperwork's there, or you just having the chef there to sort it out for you, makes it go a little smoother. And all that stuff adds up when it comes down to to like Dave said, you're sprinting and it's a 1 or 2 second or half a second. It's a lean for the line. And you have extra energy because you haven't been wasting it on things that don't matter, because someone else has been looking after it for you.
And Dave, for you, training, how has that been for you? Because I know at times it could be difficult. Running, it could be a lonely thing, but it's you trying to maximize as much as you can out of yourself. And then if you get someone that could train with you, obviously that's a plus. But how has training been going for you, especially in Bermuda?
Yeah, today was a prime. Like, so, yeah, I guess the last few weeks I haven't really been training alone. Brian Otterbridge has been helping me out a lot. So, say if I have some 800-meter reps, he'll take 600 meters or 500 meters and just like do the hard part for me, and then the last 300 on my own. So today, like for example, I had 6x400, and he ran all 300 meters of each rep. So I was only running the last 100 meters alone, and that's been pretty much the case for most of the last few months. So I packed up my para-educator position and decided to just focus on track for most of the time. So I was back where I went to school, and that was fun. I was just back like in the university setup, and like that was like the best place for me because like those guys like respected me, but at the same time like they wanted to beat me and like show coach who's also my coach is their coach, and like I'm 26, and so those guys were like 19. I definitely felt old, but I would say it hasn't been as lonely this year. Luckily last year Chris and I got along very well training, and that worked out well because I didn't race much in 2021, so I definitely transitioned from the more 800-meter runner to like I knocked on some pretty like 80-mile weeks, 90-mile weeks, and I definitely put in the effort to become over 1500-meter runner, and even 5K every now and then. So yeah, I say training has been going well. Haven't been as alone as I did maybe in 2021. So yeah.
Donna, you've watched all these athletes, and when I say all of them, I know you've probably been track and field, but I know you're well versed on all our athletes in the several positions that you've held. Watching these athletes grow, seeing them as they've matured into the people that will be representing the entire island come 15 days from now, the start of the Commonwealth Games. How much joy do you get out of it, knowing you've watched these young people become leaders of our country?
Well, I can very easily start with Dej, because if you did know, or if you do, I'm sure you do, Dej was with Flyers Track Club, which was the track club that I started. So to watch Dej grow from Flyers Track Club to where he is today, it's awesome. And also, a person like Janai. I mean, I saw Janai in Carifta Games when Janai was a high jumper, and now Janai is at World Championships getting ready to compete in the triple jump. So to see that is fantastic. And then even to see Tyler Smith went with us to Carifta and ran the 5,000. So to see Tyler where he is today, in the triathlon is fantastic. And as you know, I mean, Tyler Butterfield's been around. I mean, I've been there for Tyler when he's wanting to try to run this marathon. I'm like, okay, Tyler, you go ahead, run that marathon. So, I mean, it's so many. And even with Flora, remember, Flora used to run track. Flora ran the Front Street Mile, and to see where she is today, it's great. But my thing is not just their sporting performance and where they are in the sporting world, but to see their personalities develop and to see them become great ambassadors for Bermuda, for me, is fantastic. And one thing that I said on the meeting this morning is what's so fantastic is that this team has more females than males. And that's unusual. And, with me being, chairperson of Women in Sport and chairperson of the NACAC Gender Leadership, it's fantastic. And even while I'm there, I've been asked to speak at a conference. I don't know how I'm going to do it because it's the same day as the welcome ceremony. So I was glad when the lady sent me a message today and said, oh, it's going to be via Zoom. I was like, oh, thank God, because I don't know how I was going to get to there and get back. So for me, seeing a team that's full of females, and even the coaches and the team managers, most of them are females. So for me, that in itself is exciting. And also to see, with some of these guys, because I mean, Terry Lynn Painter, her and I usually travel and compete together. And now to see Terry Lynn where she is, she's a coach. Now she's a team manager of Commonwealth Games. It's fantastic for me to see, and to know that, in the sporting community, Bermuda is growing. And even to see, Maddie and Jack, I mean, those guys started again, Carifta swimming. And now look at them. They're going to the Commonwealth Games, and I'm sure that they will represent Bermuda very well. So yes, most of these athletes, Earl, I've seen them, and all across the sports. I mean, the only one that probably for me is new is Emma in the in squash. But so, to get to know her, and for me, that's going to be exciting, and to see her play and, see how far she's able to go at the Commonwealth Games, that's going to be great. But the majority of the teams, as you said, I've seen them. Sakari, I was with Sakari when she won her medal at Carifta. I was with Caitlin when she won her medal at Carifta. So, all of those athletes, I've seen them come through the program, and so proud to see that they are now going to be Commonwealth Games athletes competing at the Commonwealth Games. So as you said, to see them grow and develop. But like I say, with Daesh, that's one of my flyest track athletes. So, for me, that's definitely a proud moment to know that we have an athlete that started, in my club, and now, has been to Pan Am, he's now, at Commonwealth Games. So it's fantastic.
Sure. Dej, what did you learn most about yourself? Let me ask you about the 2015 Pan Am Games in Toronto.
I was not 15. I was in Peru in 19.
19. Sorry, 19.
19. Yeah, I know what you meant. What did I learn most about myself? Oof. I don't know. That's a tough question. What was that, 4 years ago? No, 3.
3.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely matured a crap ton, like as like a man. And I honestly, I would say after those games, my perspective on track changed a bit. And it sounds crazy, but I started not living and dying by races and workouts, and like, I had a bad habit where like I have a bad workout, like don't talk to me for a day. But I have a bad race, like leave me alone. Like where like, my coach was like, yo, you're gonna have bad races, and like the best thing to remember, as he told me, is that the people that love you will love you after the bear race. And like after that, like my whole perspective like changed, where like I wasn't looking for validation from anybody. Like I just kind of started to almost downplay it in a way, while still, having these lofty goals. So I would say after the Pan Am Games in 2019, when, I was the last entry in, and my coach was like, just don't get last. And I didn't. And, we just had very long talks after that about, if this is something you want to do, then you have to put your mind into it. And, I've been supported by my parents 110%. So yeah, I'd say just take each day as it comes and just get better.
Okay. All right, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more with our Commonwealth Games team for Birmingham. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy. But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born. I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Fitness putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
And welcome back. Donna, are we ready to announce who our flag bearer will be for the opening ceremony?
No, we're not, Earl. I'm not going to go there with you tonight. No,
Okay.
we're not.
Well,
I have in my mind who I just have to kind of talk to Peter and Bremen to get their nod on it. But no, I already have in my mind who I want for the flag bearer. Remember, there are not that many athletes that are participating in the opening ceremony, and that's because, as Tyler said, the triathletes, they compete the next day. Even some of the swimmers compete the next day. The track athletes don't arrive until the 31st. The majority of the cyclists will be there. Some of the swimmers will be, but Jack competes the very next morning as well. So we don't have as many athletes in the opening ceremony. So from the athletes that we have, I know who I want as the flag bearers, and I'm sure I will convince Bremen and Peter that that's going to be who is going to be carrying the flags, because we're allowed one female and one male.
yes.
So we'll be two flag bearers. So yes, I know already who will be carrying the
Okay.
flag.
All right. Tyler, give us one of your most outstanding or one of your most memorable moments in a Commonwealth Games for you.
Sorry for disappearing. My phone went out of batteries.
That's fine,
So
that's fine.
hopefully you can hear me with these. I've never
Yeah.
done it with these headphones. To be honest, each one, the Commonwealth Games is special. I mean, 5 times sounds like a lot, but that's only 5 events. I mean, the year I went for cycling, I did the time trial and the road race, but the time trial was just a warm up. I think it's pretty special to have gone for 3 different events. Representing the track and field and doing the marathon was neat for me. The funny thing is, my best result is 11th in cycling. My second best result is 12th in the marathon. And then my best triathlon has been 14th, I think. So the 2 events that I did only once, I actually did better. But it's the marathon 12th, there was only, I think, 25 people or 24. So it's not, and I'm 10 minutes behind the winner. It's not, whereas the cycling, I was very much a cyclist at the time. And the winner, I mean, he went on to win Paris-Roubaix later in years, and that was only 38 seconds up the road. But yeah, I mean, it just shows the depth of the triathlon, the fact that I am a professional triathlete, and that's not where my best results have been. Just shows that the triathletes put the Commonwealth Games very high in the ranking. I mean, right now, the guy who just won on the weekend in the World Triathlon Series is from New Zealand. He'll be there. The guy who's second is from Australia. He'll be there. Triathlon is very weighted in the Commonwealth countries. As far as, I mean, the cycling was one as well. I mean, Chris Froome, who won the Tour 4 times, I think, maybe even 5. He was there representing Kenya at the time, and no one knew who he was. He's a 5-time Tour de France winner, and we know who he is now. So it's great because you see the young athletes that aren't known, I think 4 years ago, the 5 and 10 was won by he's now got the world record for the 5 and 10. Is it Cheptegei? Is that? He was sort of just coming through. He probably did the games 4 years before that even. You see these people and you see these athletes sometimes before they break through, before they're famous to everyone in the world. And that's sort of neat too. I still remember my first, it was 20 years ago in 2002 in Manchester. And I very much was just in awe of everything. And now it's interesting. I wanted to hear what Dej was saying earlier, because as I've gotten older, I think sort of similar to what Dej was saying, that at a certain point, you live and breathe it without living and breathing it. You get on with the work and you do it, but a bad day doesn't matter. It's just what you do. Your job doesn't define you. You do it to your best of your ability. But at the same time, if you have a bad day, everyone has a bad day, no matter what their work is or what their job is or what their professional or hobby. It's but at the same time, it almost helps you excel when you're holding on too tight. Nothing can grow. And as soon as you sort of are like, I'm going to do the best I can and just keep doing that every day. And then it sort of thrives. I definitely over the last 20 years have experienced that you just have to get on with it and do what you can on the day.
Sure. And Dej, for you, what has been one of the most enjoyable moments in your sport that you've had in any major festival or any professional event you've been to?
I don't think it's happened yet. I know that there's a cop out, but no, I definitely had some good experiences. I mean, obviously, I think Front Street Mile stands out to a lot of people, but I think when I got second at Front Street Mile, I think that was a bigger accomplishment for me. Because I think I ran 4:14, and I was like pretty quick on Front Street. So I'd say that's probably one of my highlight. But then also, going to Pan Am Games and competing well. When I went to Pan Am, I done the double, 1500, 800. I was the only person to do it. And that's because my coach was like, you have nothing to lose. Just go out there and run the 15, 800. And I done relatively good in both. So I'll say, competing both first and second at Front Street, and then going to the Pan Am Games and doing the double. And now I'm at the point in my career where I don't think I need to go to do a double. Like I've had that done. Like now I can go and focus on one event. So yeah.
Okay. And Donna, I'm going to give you the last saying. What should Bermuda look forward to when these athletes are wearing the pink and blue, representing us at the Commonwealth Games?
What should Bermuda look for?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, they're going to be looking at, and that's our first event. They're going to be looking at Flora in the triathlon, and everybody's going to be pushing for her to get her gold medal back, to defend her gold medal. So that's going to be number one, and I'm sure most Bermudians will be tuned in to that. But I think that Bermuda needs to tune into all of our athletes. I think all of our athletes need that support. As I said, they all made it on their merit. They all made it by reaching qualifying standards, which however that standard was set. So my whole goal here is that Bermuda gets behind every one of these 17 athletes and supports them and cheers for them. Because as I said, I have no doubt. And even after the meeting that we had today, unfortunately, several couldn't come on because most of our athletes are overseas, they're in Europe, or somewhere. So they're not going to be logging in 12 o'clock midnight to do, an interview. And that's the thing that I loved about it. Even listening to the athletes today, how so many of them are in training, overseas, preparing themselves mentally. They are just getting ready to leave and go to Birmingham, go to the UK and run into meets to prepare. So these athletes are really preparing themselves for this competition. It's not like any one of them are just sitting back and saying, okay, well, I made it. This is it. I mean, and that's different. I mean, when I went to CAC with the athletes, not as an athlete, but as again, as the chef, I don't think our athletes were at that level. Even listening to Dej talk about knowing the athletes that he's possibly going to be competing in. And that's something that I've always said to athletes. If you're going to be in a sport, you have to live it and breathe it. You have to be committed, and you have to know. I traveled with an athlete one time to World Championships, and we were sitting beside Bob Beamon. And I said to him, "Do you know who he is?" He says, "No." I said, "You do long jump. How do you not know?" So just things like that. I think our athletes have to be more into their sport and more committed to their sport. And I saw that today when we had that call, that these athletes are really committed and preparing themselves for these games. So my thing to Bermuda is, let's get behind every one of these athletes. I mean, and I know we're having, some of the dignitaries. I know the governor is supposed to be coming to Commonwealth. My hope is that she is able to see all of the athletes compete. Don't just come out to see Flora because we're thinking that Flora's going to win a gold medal and forget about everybody else. We've got other athletes. We've got Janai. Janai is jumping world class. Dej is running world class. The triathlon team, these guys are going to be in there. So I want Bermuda to rally behind every 17 of these athletes and support them, and let's just see them and let's help them to succeed.
Sure. Well, let me say, Tyler and Dej and the rest of the athletes, good luck. We know that you've worked hard to achieve this goal of representing us at the Commonwealth Games, making it an enjoyable one, making it a memorable one. And for you, Donna, as the chef, I know you work very hard to ensure that the athletes that come under your wing and their coaching staff get everything they need. So I know that fire's in you. It's ready to burn in Birmingham. So let's show Birmingham and the rest of the Commonwealth what Bermuda has to offer. And you guys, I know you'll do that wholeheartedly. So all the best. We'll be watching and supporting, not from afar, but right in your ear, right on your shoulder, right with you as you take every single step, every swim stroke, every bike stroke, and then every run stroke. We will be right there. So for you guys, thank you very, very much, and good luck, safe travels, and represent Bermuda very well. Good night.
Thank you, Earl.